1847 show, and I'm your host, Prince Larmy Jarbo. And today we're back again with another segment of Making Money Moves. And what we're trying to do now is instead of waiting 4 to 5 weeks for another segment or another series, we're trying to have them kind of in a row so that you can learn and keep that knowledge flowing and also be able to practicalize it as well. So back to back now, we're having the second series or the third lesson in this series, I should say, which is going to be about the time value of money. So what is the time value of money, right? This is another knowledge we're going to learn today. Now, before we get started, we have to take a short break, but hang in there. We have a lot of good information for you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
Hello, my name is Grace Joma Baba, founder of Destiny Charity Organization and owner at Genesis Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Welcome back, my beautiful Liberian people, and thank you for joining us. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, this is another segment of our Making Money Move series where we try to educate ourselves on different and various financial topics. So today we're going to be talking about the time value of money. This is series 2, lesson 3, and these lessons are taken from the book How Money Works. So within that book, there are several financial topics that are discussed, and we're just extracting, each topic and kind of breaking it down to our context, of course. So the knowledge comes from the book, but however, the practical side of it on how it affects us as Liberians or just generally as people, sometimes that is, my personal point of view as well. So with that being said, today we're talking about the time value of money, right? So what is the time value of money? Well, it is a foundational financial knowledge through which you want to learn and be able to make wise or sound financial decisions. So it's a concept that says, okay, the value of money is tied to time. So if you have $100 today, that $100, the value of that $100 is tied into today. So tomorrow, that $100 might not be worth the same amount. It might be worth less. Usually is less because of other reasons that we'll talk about, or it might be worth more. So because the value of money is tied into time, the question then becomes, what do we do, right? What do we do to always make sure that we're on the positive end? Our money is increasing in value instead of decreasing in value. So that is the time value of money. And again, it's one of those things that you want to learn, right? As a person who's going through life, a lot of what you do is going to be about money. So if it's about money, you need to be informed so you can make the most informed decision. So why does the time value of money matters? Why does that matters? One, it matters because um, opportunity cost, right? So it's better to invest $100 now versus a year later. So you not knowing that, you might think, let me wait until the future and then I will invest. Well, the future isn't really guaranteed, which will be a reoccurring theme that we'll talk about today. So you need to know the time value of money because opportunity cost. And opportunity cost in its simplest form is pretty much, hey, if you decide to do this, you have to, trade off or let go of something else. So it's going to cost you, not doing something else. So understanding that $100, if it's invested today, a year later, it might not guarantee you. Excuse me. Investing $100 today is wiser than waiting a year later because you could potentially lose value in your money, and you could gain interest if it was invested now. So yeah, those are part of the reason why you want to understand and apply the knowledge, right? So inflation. Well, we all know that inflation, none of us is exempt from inflation. It affects our economy as a whole. So inflation is pretty much when the values of goods and services increase. So meaning that your money no longer has the same level of purchasing power. So right, and sometimes it can happen on a very drastic scale. Typically, inflations in most developed countries are about 3 to 6% on an annual basis, meaning that the price of your common goods that you buy might go up 3 to 6%. So a coffee today, is probably going to be, it's not probably, most likely will be a different price next year. So what does that mean, right? That means that you want to make sure that your money is able to keep up with the inflation. So because again, is the value of your money is tied into time. So you want to make sure that that money that you have is keeping up with inflation. Because if it's not keeping up with inflation, you have $100 and you're able to buy maybe one bag of rice or two bags of rice this year. $100 might not be able to buy you two bags of rice next year. It might be able to buy you one and a half. So then the question becomes, how can I ensure my money keeps up with inflation? Which we'll talk briefly on that. So another thing, the question, of course, is why does money have time value, right? And the next point is the risk and uncertainty. So no one knows the future. A lot could happen tomorrow. So you always want to take advantage of now because the future isn't guaranteed. And personally, I had this in my experience. I had a tenant who was renting for me and they owed me money for a month, and there was a little bit of dispute, and they wanted to give me 1 second. Okay. Let's see here. Let's take a short break. I'm not sure what's going on. This is lagging, so I'm just trying to fix it.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
my name is Grace Choma Baba from the Girls of Destiny Charity Organization and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba from the Girls of Destiny Charity Organization and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
My name is Grace Choma Baba, founder Girls of Destiny Charity Organization, and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Hey, sorry, people. Sorry. So we've been having some technical difficulties with the camera, and it started glitching, and I tried to fix it, and I had to go offline to try to figure out and see what was going on. But I'm glad it's back and working. So we're pretty much talking about the time value of money, and we said that the time value of money is pretty much a principle that says money, the value of your money is attached to time. So what you have today might not be valued the same tomorrow. So because of that, you have to make wise financial decisions to make sure that your money is able to keep up with time. So we also went into why money, the value of money is tied into time. We talked about pretty much opportunity cost. We talked about inflation. And then another reason the value of money is tied into time is just because of risk and uncertainty. And I was giving you a personal example. I said I had a tenant who was renting for me, and he owed me pretty much a month worth of rent, and he offered to pay me some of it. And because that wasn't what we agreed on, I told him, hey, no, I don't want you to pay me half of the rent. You got to pay me everything, or I'm going to take you to court. So he said, okay. So then I ended up taking him to court, and I won the case. But the court gave him 10 years to repay the debt because it was a civil matter and it was less than a certain amount. So it was handled by the civil court. So they gave him 10 years to repay the debt. Now, the lesson learned from that is if I would have taken, for example, the 300 or so dollars he would have offered, that's more money guaranteed to be in my pocket now. Yes, I'm going to get the money back in 10 years, but is the total rent that was owed to me now, is that money in 10 years from now, you think the money will still be valued the same? Absolutely not. So because it wouldn't be valued the same, my point is always take the money that you can now. It's guaranteed. Another reason why that is a bad idea, being paid in 10 years. What if I pass away in 10 years? God forbid, right? Now that man gets to keep the money and go scot free. So because the future isn't certain, because we don't know what will happen, is if you can get it today, get it today. Even if it's half of it, take it. That is still, it still puts you in a better position than if you didn't have anything at all. Don't be like me. Don't make that mistake. And this is part of the reason we have this segment, to educate people on how we can, make wiser financial decisions. So ways to apply the time value of money. These are different instances you can apply them. One that that the banks use, for example, is when they're calculating your loans. If you apply for a loan and you have to pay interest on that loan, well, they know that the value of their money needs to increase in the future because they're giving you money now, and when they get it back, they need to either make profit on it or maintain the same value. Typically, they make profit. So because of that, they charge you interest. So the interest is how they ensure that their money is always keeping up with time, right? So that's one way that concept is used. Now you can inverse that and use it in your own personal context by, if you give out money to people, if you loan out money, charging them interest, because that interest is going to help keep your money valued with time. And how much you charge in interest, of course, is based on the amount, based on the context. But keep in mind that the inflation rate for the year, right? So in Liberia, I'm not sure what the inflation rate is, but this is something you can find out. So if the inflation rate is 5%, if money is losing its value by 5% because the prices of things are going up, then maybe you want to charge at least 5%. So your money keeps its value at minimum. Or if you charge more, then your money is, surplusing what the inflation is. So it's up to you, and it's up to the context as well. Um, so pretty much all you can take from this is consider the time value of money use it as a pair of lenses when you're making financial decisions. You got to ask yourself questions like, is it wise for me to invest my money into this venture? Is it going to help my money keep up with time? And keeping up with time is just time says, hey, now the inflation is this. Is your money the same value or is it more in value? Right. And then number two, if you can, should you take what is guaranteed today? Right. Because what is guaranteed today is definitely better than what's in the future, because the future is uncertain and it's not guaranteed. So that's it. The time value of money is a principle that pretty much outlines, hey, what how time affects the value of your money, and in order to keep up with that, you have to make sure you're making wise financial decisions by asking for interest rate, a better interest rate, so on and so forth. So that's all of our content for today. Again, apologies for the breakup in the stream, just because of the webcam. Hopefully, we don't have that problem in the future. But thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching this at a later time, please, thanks for joining. And please remember to comment, share, whatever you need to do to help get this message out there. But until next time, God bless you. And of course, your family and our beautiful Mama Liberia. Take care.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also don't formulate Twitter and